Hey guys, welcome to Learn Feng Shui, where you'll learn Feng Shui from a classical point of view, taking out the myth and superstition. If you like weekly tips as well as fun folklore tales, you'll enjoy learning Feng Shui with me. Hey guys, let's talk about the monthly energies for December. Don't forget to follow the link in the show notes to schedule your wealth activation session. If you have any questions for me as to what all that entails, you can definitely just follow that link. It has a little informational thing with some Q&As, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Also, you can shoot me an email. Hey guys, welcome to the month of Geng Zi or Metal Rat. The first Ji cycle is going to be from December 6th to December 21st. That's the first cycle of Ji, and that is called Greater Snow. The Qi cycle is going to be December 21st through January 5th, and that is called Winter Solstice. And of course, that corresponds closely to the pagan wheel of the year and their observance of solstice. One of the most notable things is that we're going into the month of the Metal Rat. And if that sounds familiar to you, it's because the year 2020 was the year of the Metal Rat. So these past few months, the energy has been super significant. And it's almost like we've lived out the past few years of our lives and experienced every emotion, trigger, and trauma that we can experience. And that we've experienced those last few years in these last few months. It's just like a supercharged energy. And December is going to be much the same as it was for 2020 because of that repetitive energy. As we get closer to 2022, I'm going to talk about the significance of this next year and how that's going to play into you planning literally the next 12 years of your life. So as we get closer, I'll kind of talk about that. But yeah, it's very important to note that you may feel the same things, some of the same patterns, some of those same issues you have dealt with and you dealt with last year may be kind of repeating a little bit. I do worry that there may be an upsurgence in the coronavirus. So being very mindful of our health and our, well-being, keeping our vitamins, our supplements up is going to be very important for us through December as we go into the month of all kinds of illness, not just the corona, but, flu and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you're staying healthy this month. One thing to note also, I kind of didn't realize this until we were a couple weeks into the month last month, but the flying stars for November were actually the same as they are going to be for the year of 2022. So I would kind of note the areas in your home that were getting a better, energy, a better kind of how you were using them for last month. And you could start to think about setting the feng shui for 2022 in your home. All right, so for the animal sign of rat, one thing to note is that you have the Grand Duke for the month. So I talk about this all the time. Whenever you have an animal sign that comes in and it's in your natal chart, so you already have the sign of the rat, like you're born under one of these animal signs. And if you don't know what those are, you can go follow the link in the notes down below. I'll have a calculator there. You just put in your birthday. So if you're born under the animal sign of the rat, and then that month comes in or that year comes in, that's the rat. What happens is it's almost like all eyes on you. A lot of attention can be, in your direction this month. So this is only good if you actually want that attention. Are you ready for that type of attention? And if the answer is no, you may want to consider, to lay a little bit lower this month, or maybe take things a little bit slower, take yourself out of that spotlight. It could be good if you're doing something like doing a job interview, if you're doing social media stuff. The only thing is, because it's almost like a critical energy, the energy is almost like a criticizing one. People may be more picky about the way they perceive you. They may take things the wrong way. So I always warn to be careful about that when your animal sign sees the same animal sign as the month or the year. So looking at the combinations, the combo of 6. So if you have a dragon or monkey in your natal chart, that just means that with the rat coming in this month, you may see an addition of water because all three of those animal signs make this the element of water. So depending on what water is to you, it's going to depend on how it affects you, how strong your natal chart is and where it falls in your chart. But honestly, what it can represent a few different things. So water really does represent like intellect. So there's a difference between like intellect and knowledge. Like the element of wood represents like learning, education, and like being like a scholar. However, water actually represents like the wisdom, intuitiveness, and like knowing how to apply something. So whenever it's like that thought process or like putting ideas together. And so you could possibly see that this month. If your chart seems to be overwhelmed by water and you have these animal signs, that just means maybe your month could be a little bit more stressful, a little bit more high anxiety, and you probably need to do some things to kind of, the mindfulness exercises, stuff like that, and just be mindful of your own stress and anxiety during this time. Of course, the holidays can be very stressful, but just let that go. Like, let it go. We're not, I don't know. I think globally we've really seen just this letting go of these material things, letting go of the stress, letting go of the things that aren't serving us. So that would be a really good thing to think about as you go through the holiday season, is to let go of things that are no longer serving you. If you have the animal sign of ox, you already had the Grand Duke for the year. So this month might be a different, combination for you there. Again, I believe it makes the element of water. So rat and ox, I think when it combines, it makes the element of water. I actually have to go check my notes. I usually know that off the top of my head, but for some reason, it's not like in my brain right now. I think that's right. So if you have this, it just means maybe I would say maybe venture to watch your health a little bit this month. Whenever you have a heavy water element come in and mix with earth, which is what the ox is, it's almost like a paddy field. It could be like a marsh, and it could be like mud. So one thing to note this month is I would go and make sure you're taking your vitamins, your supplements, making sure you're healthy and you're the healthiest that you can be. So looking again, I start including this last month is that seasonal combination. So this is going to be really strong for the pig. If you have an animal sign of pig in your chart, or if you have any combinations of those, incarnations, but particularly the pig, it encompasses all the animal signs that are the element of water and a season of winter. And this is a super, super strong combination. And I mean, what it could mean for you is that the things you've really been working hard for and you've been working towards, you could see a really big return or really big payoff this month. So remember, nothing is free, and you do have to put the work in. So if you haven't really put any work in, but it's just something you're like hoping for or wishing for, you can't just throw something in a quote unquote like wealth sector or activate a good star and you'll have money fall from the sky. I mean, I would highly suggest that you actually, put the work in behind the scenes. But if you've been doing that, everything that you've been doing up until this point it can pay off potentially very big this month. So I would focus and look at how can you make that happen for you this month? I would look for those opportunities. So looking at the Feng Shui for this month, one of the things to note is that a bunch of the energies are kind of spread out, where it makes it a little bit difficult to pin down a really good sector. My pick for the month is going to be the West. I mean, of course, it houses that 8-star for the year, the one that's associated with like work and wealth. So what happens this month is that the star number 6 comes in. And so a 6-8 combination is a good combination. The earth is feeding into that metal, it's creating that metal, and so it's just a good combination in general. What happens now though is it actually moves into the west, and the west has that 8-star. It actually forms a special combination because we have the monthly 6-star, and then the natal home, the home base of the west is the star 7, and then of course for the year we have the star 8. And so you actually form just this little string of numbers. Whenever you see consecutive numbers like that, those are generally really good star combinations. So you'll see a 6, 7, 8 for the month. So I would focus on working in the West. If you'd like to, you could put out some temporary water. You could place a fan there. Do be careful about where you're placing some of this stuff. Because you don't want to activate the wrong area. Remember, there's 3 sectors to the west. And so I would suggest sticking in one of the subsectors. Remember that rooster is right at west too. So if you have a rabbit in your natal chart, I probably wouldn't activate that area. But remember, you have different sectors, subsectors. So west, 1, 2, or 3. And so I would suggest you either do west 1 or 3. My pick for the worst feng shui sector is probably going to be the south. I really don't like the south for December. So the star number 8 is visiting for the month. There's a string of numbers that look lovely there. However, one of the things to know, and some feng shui schools don't practice this, and I like to look at it, is the monthly 3 killings. So don't activate the south in any way this month, it's particularly the area that's associated with like horse, okay? Don't activate that. Also, it clashes the rat. So remember, we don't want to clash any, the monthly energies is called the month breaker. We don't want to clash that Grand Duke for the month. So we're not going to be using the south. So I would suggest don't overly activate the south area of your home this month. Don't start renovations. One other thing to note is that since the month of the metal rat is coming in, and the year is the metal ox, it's very, very tough energy. I really have seen an increase of like stress and anxiety over emotional fear and also mental health issues. And so we really need to be mindful of, our mental health this next couple months. Water and metal is a really big indication of mental health issues, anxiety, and depression. And so if it affects you in that way, you may have seen an increase this year and you're like, I don't know why. And actually starting last year, I think we kind of saw that globally, of course. And I think it took a toll on a lot of people's mental health to not be able to leave their home, and stuff like that. So really be mindful of your mental health, and please seek any help that you may need. If you need a counselor or somebody, seek that help. Seriously, if you're having a super hard month, reach out to me personally. Just reach out to me and be like, what is going on this month? What's the energy for me? And I'll be happy to give you a reading free of charge. Just a quick, I can say like, oh, this is what's going on in your chart, and here's some, something you can implement to fix it. Here's an action or something you can do. I'm not a mental health professional, so I can't help you in that way. And I would still suggest you talk to a professional, especially if you're having super tough emotions, so super, especially ones that can be harmful. So, but I can support you in offering to, look at that for you and suggest maybe an action step that would help you feel a little bit better. So anyway, just really be mindful. That's my holiday gift to you. If you need anything, please reach out to me. Seriously. I love helping people. And one of the reasons I got into doing Feng Shui and Chinese metaphysics is because I like helping people. And I like offering my insight and seeing what I see in those patterns of energy in your natal chart. So, again, we could do a quick talk or a quick message or something, and I could hopefully offer you some insight. So, yeah, don't feel alone. Don't feel alone. Okay. For Friday, I really just wanted to focus on symbolism of the rat across different cultures. Sometimes when I'm doing astrology readings and looking at the natal chart, I'll tell people what their animal signs are, and they seem to have a little bit of an aversion to the animal sign of rat, just because of their view of it, And I think if most people think of just rats that are invasive or something. However, I tend to have a little bit different view on that. My kids all have rats in their natal chart. It's the element of pure water, which represents like wisdom, and it's like an ocean. And so I would say, check that your association with that animal sign, and let's look at a couple different ones that could change your view a little bit. So most generally, the rat will represent like fertility and reproduction. So, we tend to know that rats can reproduce fairly quickly. They're very resilient, and they seem to be very smart because they're always like out, you don't see them a lot. And if you see them, like they're gone, they'll hide from you, right? So if you've ever had like a rat in your home or you found a rat in the wild, like that sucker is gone, like they're fast. And so these are generally the thoughts that are associated with them. However, with with Chinese folklore or Chinese like traditions, they tend to look at the rat a little bit differently, and they associate it also with wealth. So a lot of times you'll see symbols like a little rat sitting on ingots or sitting on a pile of gold, because when they take stuff back to their little nest or their little rat hole, they hoard stuff, they collect stuff, and they usually have a little back supply of things for them to have in their little nest. And so they're generally associated with that same attribute as a person. So it's said sometimes they use this in the symbology with the natal chart. If you have a rat in your natal chart, you're really good at like saving your money. And generally I don't put too much stock in actually attributing like animal traits to a person, because it's not the actual animal. It's really just, a zodiac sign represented by, celestial bodies, right? It's just one of the houses in Chinese astrology. And so I generally don't associate that with the traits with a person. However, I will say my daughter was born under the animal sign of a rat, and they're so good at saving money. Like they will hoard their money away. They will pack it away. Like they don't want to spend their own money. They will sit on that money and like have it in a little, they always tend to have it in their purse or whatever. It's hilarious. Like they will hoard that money and sit on that pile of money. And so that's just one thing. However, my two sons are both born under the animal sign of the rat, just in different categories. And they're the complete opposite. Like they will just blow their money and not even think twice about it. So I'm not sure if that trait stands, but for sure my daughter is the one that exhibits that trait. It said if you see a white rat, that means it's supposed to be like a lucky symbol, and you're supposed to have good luck. At whatismyspiritanimal.com, which I'll link to below, it talks about some of the different symbolic meanings, so straying kind of away from the Eastern meaning of it. It says here that in shamanism, that a rat actually symbolizes security and survival. It says here the smallest scrap gives rat spirit enough to get by for a little while longer, allowing the creature to survive by its wits alone. The rat is also a partner for protecting one's health because it has a strong immunity to disease and the toxins around it. Not sure about that. So a rat as a Celtic animal symbol. Well, rats were sometimes messengers in Celtic lore. Folklore often paints the creatures in a negative light, deciding that a white rat is about the only positive sign noted indicating good luck. There it is again. So finding a rat chewed item can foretell of misfortune. And because rats leave a ship before it's sinking, they have symbolic ties to foreknowledge and psychic abilities. And the creature's ability to find what it wants depicts the creature as clever and defending its belongings and territory aggressively when necessary, causes rats to signify courage. Another notable fact about the rat timing, it said that you shouldn't do divination during a rat day or the rat hour. Hope you guys enjoyed today's rat symbology and the energy update. So don't forget to go to the website, and I know I have an email sign up, so you can sign up for email so you can kind of be notified. I do write a blog post, and I'll link to the animal sign calculator so you can go calculate your natal chart. To support the podcast, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your family and friends who you think may be interested, especially if you found this content useful. To learn more about Feng Shui and Chinese metaphysics, follow the link to the website below.